I previously discussed how losing weight the wrong way can cause all sorts of health problems, like developing gallstones when you cut fat and calories from your diet, or developing kidney stones when you fail to get prebiotic fibers, or colitis, or even a heart attack because of the huge flood of triglycerides that occurs during weight loss due to mobilization of stored fat. So, how do you lose weight then safely and not expose yourself to all those excess risks in the midst of losing weight? Well, there are 5 basic practices and principles that I use in my Wheat Belly and Undoctored programs that allow you to lose weight safely and also undo numerous common health conditions. First of all, we get rid of gliadin-derived opioid peptides. What that means is there's a protein in wheat and related proteins in rye, barley, and corn that upon partial digestion, because humans don't have the enzymes to fully digest those proteins, but upon partial digestion of the gliadin protein, you get 4 or 5 amino acid long peptides or fragments. Well, these fragments are very peculiar in that they're able to cross into the brain and bind to the opioid receptors in the human brain. And when they do that, they don't make you high, they stimulate appetite. They cause you to eat more and more. It can be responsible for around the clock, never being satisfied, always being hungry. It's that effect when you have a whole big bowl of pasta, for instance, and you're filled to bursting, but you're somehow still hungry. Or you had a bowl of breakfast cereal or oatmeal at 7 a.m., you're hungry 90 minutes, 2 hours later. That's the effect of gliadin-derived opioid peptides. You're always hungry, never satisfied. Well, if we remove those gliadin-derived opioid peptides, you are miraculously freed from that kind of hunger. You're going to find that you're really not hungry that often. You may have breakfast, say, maybe 3 eggs with bacon or sausage or something like that at 7 a.m. You probably won't be hungry till late afternoon. You probably won't have to eat lunch. You can eat lunch, but you don't have to. You're not going to be hungry for it. Or let's say you start your day, you might not be hungry till noontime or 2. So people sail through the day no longer plagued by hunger. How easy is that then to lose? It's much easier to lose weight. You're not cutting calories that leaves you hungry all the time, right? We're also going to cut all sources of the amylopectin A carbohydrate. That's all wheat and grains, because amylopectin A raises blood sugar and thereby insulin very extravagantly. When you raise insulin, it causes weight gain and blocks weight loss. So if we remove all wheat and grains and thereby the amylopectin A, you're no longer raising blood sugar and insulin to high levels. We also eliminate sugars, including high fructose corn syrup and other sources of fructose. And for the same reasons, if you're not provoking high blood sugar, you're not provoking high blood insulin. And over time, insulin resistance recedes. If you are tracking fasting insulin levels in your bloodstream, for instance, you'll see those fasting insulin levels drop over time. And that's what allows you to lose weight, because it's insulin present at high levels in people with insulin resistance that causes them to gain weight or prevents them from losing weight. Where we're going to take those steps, eliminating the sources of dietary amylopectin A and sugars that allows insulin levels to drop. So if you were pre-diabetic and had an insulin level, say, of 60 microunits, that will keep you from losing weight. But doing this approach, your fasting insulin level might be 2 or 3, no longer blocking your weight loss efforts. Another thing we do in my program is we never limit fat. We never limit calories. Recall from the prior video that when you cut fat and or calories, that's a setup for gallstone formation, because if you're not causing your gallbladder to squeeze and expel its bile, the bile stagnates and begins to crystallize. And that is the process that leads to gallstone formation in so many people when they cut their fat and or cut their calories, where you're never going to hear me say that. We eat unlimited fat, so we keep the gallbladder very busy, and we never limit calories. You will find that calories do go down, but you're still going to be eating a fair amount of calories. So we're not limiting calories, never limiting fat. Another thing we do in my programs is we get prebiotic fibers, because that's a mistake of many low-carb diets. Low-carb diets are wonderful for weight loss and upfront health benefits, but the long-term mistake made by many people, whether it's ketogenic, paleo, Atkins, or other forms of low-carb diets, carnivorous, is they fail to get prebiotic fibers. And all kinds of awful things happen in bowel flora composition when you do that. That leads to health deterioration over the long run. Not the short term, but over the long run. There's a narrowing of species diversity, bacterial species diversity, for instance. There's proliferation of mucus consuming bacteria like Akkermansia and others. And they degrade the mucus lining of your intestinal tract. And that leads over time to an increase in intestinal permeability, inflammation, autoimmune diseases, diverticulitis, diverticular disease, and increased potential for colon cancer. So we do not, so we make sure we get prebiotic fibers. We try to get 20 grams per day of prebiotic fibers from such things as inulin, acacia fiber, legumes, root vegetables, asparagus, onions, garlic, and many others. And that way we preserve the health of our microbiome, of our bowel flora, and are not exposed to excess risk for such things as osteoporosis, bone thinning, kidney stones, and other complications when you go low carb but do not get prebiotic fibers. Another thing we do is we supplement with omega-3 fatty acids and also magnesium. Recall that one of the things that can happen in dieting is that you flood your bloodstream with triglycerides, because that's how energy is stored in fat cells, as triglycerides. So when you lose weight, a necessary process is to mobilize triglycerides stored in fat cells. So you'll see blood triglycerides, for instance, go really high during active weight loss. That's normal. But some people are very prone to arterial constriction when that happens. And if you have some measure of underlying coronary atherosclerosis, that constriction provoked by the flood of triglycerides can actually cause a heart attack. It's uncommon, but it does happen. Well, we do two things that blunt that effect. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil accelerate the clearance of those triglyceride-containing particles dramatically. And magnesium helps counteract abnormal arterial constriction. So we include those two among some other nutrients that are deficient in modern lives, modern diets. So omega-3 fatty acids should have been gotten from fish, shellfish, and the brains of animals. Well, most of us don't eat fish or shellfish that frequently. There's a problem with mercury contamination now. And of course, we don't eat brains anymore. So we get omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil because we drink filtered water, not water running over rocks and minerals and streams and rivers. So our drinking water has been filtered. All the magnesium has been removed, so we replenish magnesium absent from modern drinking water, absent from modern life. And those two strategies counteract the abnormal arterial constriction that causes both high blood pressure as well as put you at risk for heart attack during weight loss. So put that all together, you have an enormously effective way to lose weight that's safe, that doesn't lead to gallstones, that doesn't lead to kidney stones, doesn't result in colitis, doesn't result in long-term metabolic distortions, and doesn't result in heart attack. Now, if you want this all put together in one resource, I invite you to take a look at my newest book, which is Wheat Belly Revised and Expanded Edition, where the entire program is detailed how to put this together in both a program for health restoration as well as for weight loss. If you'd like closer guidance, more detail on why this works, I invite you to take a look at my Undoctored Inner Circle website. It's a subscription membership website where we do, for instance, live two-way video chats. We have health coaches who can help you. We have a very busy discussion forum where you can ask questions, post your laboratory results, post your lipoprotein results, post your thyroid results, and get feedback on everything. That's on the Undoctored Inner Circle. And your membership dues, by the way, for the Undoctored Inner Circle go towards funding our research, funding expansion of new programs, and funding, of course, paying our staff also. So you're advancing the cause, you're advancing the movement of being undoctored when you join us.